I don't know how we're going to get into tomorrow. I don't know how we're going to reach the next generation and those that follow that generation and then the next generation. I don't know how we're going to get there. But if we don't learn to get along with each other here, they're going to be infected. We need to bring all of our creative energy together in this place of now so that when that energy reaches them up there, they can find faith. They can find ability in the physical acts of creativity. It's a strange way to look at the world, but a seed that becomes a tree, becomes paper, becomes a thought, becomes a podcast? What? We're all connected. Unplugged because we will always say yes to creativity. Totally uncut because we all make mistakes, so turn it into a tool. This is Arroe Unplugged. There are so many times that I show up on a page and I don't understand why it is that I write the way that I do. I've never understood that. And I've been ridiculed. People have poked fun at me. They say I'm too far out there. Do you not think I know that? It's like when program directors would call me up on the hotline when I'd be in the studio. Man, I'd be in there having a great radio show. Hotline goes off. And they would say, you just screwed up on the air. And I would go, I know. I was here before you even called. I know. And that really used to bother me deeply because a program director would walk into the studio and they'd go, you just did a break that didn't have connection with the listeners. I know. Dude, I was here before you even walked through that door. I was here. It's the same thing with writing. It's like these words fall out onto a sheet of paper, and I've never believed that they were my words. I've never believed that. I always believed that I just show up and I scrape this whiteness, this junk, this. Is it like talcum powder? What is it? I scratch it off from the page, and whoa, there's words there. It's like, whoa, what? It's just what I believe. I believe that trees speak, and somehow, some way, this moment was created by an energy that said, you're going to be the scratcher. You're going to scratch off the talcum powder or whatever it is off from this page, and you're going to talk about what the tree went through during its storms, during its growth, from the seed to the leaf. Hey, it's Arroe. Ooh, weird guy, right? This is the Daily Mess, a chronological walk through an everyday world. I am a daily writer celebrating 27 years of daily writing. Living in the presence of now, it's what we can control. Being here. Whatever is moving through you in this moment of now, oh my God, there's just so much energy in it. If I could just convince one person to grow with that. This is the Daily Mess, the process of processing. What would you do if that was the first thing you put down on a sheet of paper? The process of processing. How would you digest that? What would you do? What would be the follow-up sentence? You got a whole page sitting there in front of you and you're going, I don't know. The process of processing, digesting the actuality of what's physically being lived out. It's a tough walk in a society that can't seem to agree on what is and isn't history. What is may not be looked upon as is. What could be will probably seem until a writer steps in and reimagines the existence. Every day, I always ask, how will the future digest our decisions? Will they be fake? Non-believers of truth? Students of a controlled effort of belief? The end result of cancel culture. What is it? The humanized art of shaping what it believes. Who are we? Did we get here naturally? Why isn't NASA sending probes onto our streets of America to see if life still exists here? We aren't living, we're just showing up. We aren't helping each other, we're standing around with a camera in our hands hoping to capture what'll be on CNN. Dear future reader. Oh, God. That's where he put his attention. Dear future reader. I can only pray that you are a leader in a society designed by followers. Do you mind if I have a sip of coffee? Because that was some heavy stuff there. That was some heavy stuff. The process of processing, digesting the actuality of what is physically being lived out. A tough walk in a society that can't seem to agree on what is and isn't history. Dear future reader, I can only pray that you are a leader in a society designed by followers. How's your walk? You got a limp? Your toes numb? How's your back? You walking up straight? You looking forward? Or are your eyes pointed down? I did a painting one time that was based on an experience of going from the front of the forest to the back of the forest. And I always, until this moment, when I walked, I looked down. I looked down at the ground because I was always afraid I was going to trip over something because I'm nerdy like that. And what's so funny is that where I had this moment, this life-changing presence is right outside this studio window. I'm looking right at the area where everything just went completely different. I happened to look up at the forest as I was walking down the hill because it's a 90-foot drop to the back of the forest. And here was this beautiful spider's web on a very foggy morning. The dew from the atmosphere, the humidity in the air, had made this beautiful piece of artwork, the most unbelievable painting from nature I've ever seen. It was right there in front of me. And I stood there because I happened to just look up. Because when you're walking down a 90-foot drop into the back of the forest, you want to make sure that you're not going to trip over any branches or anything that could be there, a rock, whatever. But I happened to look up, and here it was, this unbelievable array of art. I can't do anything like it. And whoever that spider was, wow, the moment was life-changing. The process of processing, digesting the actuality of what's physically being lived out. A tough walk in a society that can't seem to agree on what is and isn't history. What is may not be looked upon as is. What could be will probably seem until a writer steps in and reimagines the existence. You would have never known the story about the spider's web if this writer had not experienced that particular day. But if you would have been the writer beside me, would you have written the same thing? That's how we are living these days. How I walk and how I speak, I'm right here. I lived it. We're seeing it. But those around you have a different story. What is it? What will be, will it? I'm Arroe, and that's the Daily Mess.